Fellas, it has been about 14 days since I uploaded a video. And maybe you're thinking, NoLeather OSRS, where have you been? What's happening? The fog is coming. The voices are getting louder. But I'm back now. And today I want to talk about Guardians of the Rift. If you've seen any video I've ever made before, I don't really make guides. I kind of just talk about what I'm doing or stuff that I've done before, mainly because I don't play the game very optimally. I tend to pick comfort over efficiency. So today I'm going to show you how I do Guardians of the Rift and talk about why this minigame is so good. But before we start this video, I gotta be completely honest, I don't really like Guardians of the Rift. I'm sure this is mainly because of bias, but I remember being 12 years old, and I remember Runespan coming out. Runespan was just like so different from regular rune crafting that it finally gave me like a reason to train it. I never wanted to make runes, but for some reason, Runespan was okay. But with Guardians of the Rift, it's very similar to regular rune crafting, it just kind of changes where you're doing it. But you know, that's another side tangent. We could talk about Runespan another day. Today, let's talk about Guardians of the Rift. This minigame actually has very low requirements. It requires completion of Temple of the Eye. It technically requires level 27 runecraft, but this is just a necessary prerequisite for the quest. You need any pickaxe, and that's pretty much it. You could use a chisel, but you could just pick one up here. To get here, it's very easy. If you've played the minigame before and have the Amulet of the Eye, this is an option, but my personal preference is to just use the minigame teleport because it takes you right to the bank and you're ready to go. If neither of these are available for you, you can use the Necklace of Passage to get to the Wizard's Tower, you could use the Fairy Ring going to DIS, you could run all the way from Lumbridge, or you could just use an Amulet of Glory and go to Draenor Village. And yes, I did have to tell you all these options because you'll be mad in the comments if I didn't. If this is your first time playing Guardians of the Rift, I really recommend you use one of the official worlds. There are a bunch of methods for doing like small groups or even solos, but using any of the official worlds will make this much easier and make it much more chill. And now that we know what we need to do the minigame and how to get there, let's talk about the minigame itself. This is the setup of gear that I use. If you don't have the Remnants of the Eye, the Varrock plate body is really good for getting a little bit of extra essence when you're mining. I am obviously a smelly nerd with my max cape. This prevents me from having to repair my pouches. I also just have the Colossal pouch, so I'd only really have one to repair. But if you don't have this, and you do have the Abyssal Lantern, with 90 fire making, which is a pretty steep requirement, using redwood logs in it will let you basically never have to repair your essence pouches. Since I'm going to assume most of you will not have these requirements, you probably will need to bring runes for Contact NPC so that you can repair your pouches whenever they get damaged. When I play Guardians of the Rift, I have everything that I click on marked. A lot of people don't like this. For me, it just makes it like really brainless. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I just click the bright yellow box. Of course, it's just personal preference, so if it's not for you, don't worry about marking them. You just kind of need to know what each one does. The Huge Guardian Remains basically lets you mine fully formed essence. You can only access this mine once a portal spawns. The portals will obviously take you to the Huge Guardian Remains mine. The workbench lets you mold fragments into essence. The uncharged cells are used for getting extra points after creating runes, as well as making guardians. I also have the rubble marked. This is just where you go down into the bigger mine. This lets you mine more fragments at once. This does have a level 56 agility requirement, but if you have 56 agility, it's definitely worth using this mine. Oh my god, I double clicked it. I double clicked the fucking thing. I love this. This is so good. So to start every game, I pick up 10 uncharged cells, I come over to this mine, I click this, then I click on any random skill that's located within the skill tab, because as you can see when the game starts, I will now automatically start mining. I stay down here till the first portal spawns, or till roughly 270 fragments. I take the portal, and I fill my pouch as well as my inventory with essence. I don't really think too much about which runes are like available. I always just pick whatever one will let me balance my points basically. I keep pretty much every type of rune. I don't really consider dropping them ever, but you can if you don't want them. I always do 2 full inventories and then I'll just mine until the portal spawns, or in this case it just spawns, so I'll just take the portal right away. Again, same thing. For the second one, I'll do 2 full inventories and then take the second portal that comes up. And then after this, I'll just finish up the game normally. I'll ignore any other portals that come up and I'll just make the rest of my essence on the workbench. And that is a pretty standard game of Guardians of the Rift for me. I typically get 5 to 6 points in both elemental and catalytic. That is thanks to the U lantern. But let's talk about why you should actually do Gardens of the Rift. Nothing too good from the reward pool. I'm just trying to get pearls, I'm trying to get the pet transmog, and I still need a green dye. But from the rewards guardian, you can get a variety of different things. You can get abyssal pearls, which are like the main currency of this minigame. You can get the abyssal needle, which is great for combining all your rune pouches. This lets you just basically use one big pouch instead of 4 smaller ones. The abyssal lantern is great. Its effects only work in the minigame, but they are very nice to have even within the minigame. There's a pet, obviously, and a couple other things like the dyes, the talismans, and then there's the cosmetics like the diary and the lost bag. Using our reward currency from this minigame, we can get the best skilling outfit in the game, the Remnants of the Eye. Each piece grants the wearer 10% more runes, up to a maximum of 60% when the full set is equipped. This is incredibly beneficial and makes your rune crafting way more GP per hour. You can also get the Ring of Elements. If you're an Iron Man, this is something I would really recommend you get here, but if you're a main account, you should probably just buy it from the GE. This ring is really good for getting around the game, and especially for doing stuff like clue scrolls. The XP here is very competitive. It will not match something like lava runes, just because of how click intensive that actually is, but comparing it to something like blood runes or soul runes on Zaya, it's very, very close. Starting out Gardens of the Rift at a very low level will get you about 20,000 XP per hour. This is really good, especially at low level runecraft, but as you continue to play the minigame and gain more levels, you can get upwards of 60,000 XP. Doing the way I showed you in this video, I get about 55,000 XP per hour at level 99, so use that information as you will. Guardians of the Rift was a really good way to incentivize players to do runecraft. It basically took away that long grind of just endlessly making runes into making runes so that you can get other rewards while gaining XP in the process. You'll also get endless amounts of entertainment through reading the public chat here, as well as gaining a small token amount of mining and crafting XP while you play the minigame. You don't really notice it, but doing it long term, you actually gain a pretty good amount of mining and crafting experience. I think you would gain about 1 million XP in both skills if you decide to go for 99 here. I just think Guardians of the Rift was really good for spicing up the skill. Runecraft definitely needed something. It was getting pretty boring and most people were only doing it because they had to. Now you get a really good skilling outfit that makes you more money per hour, a new pet that looks very interesting, a transmog to the pre-existing pet, which is, in my opinion, one of the best pets in the game now, a utility ring that lets you get all around the game, the abyssal needle, which makes emptying pouches and filling pouches much easier, and just a fun community activity. I'll probably be at Gardens of the Rift for a little bit. I got a bunch of stuff to still finish here. Thank you so much to my YouTube channel members, Dino and Snacks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys try out Gardens of the Rift if you haven't yet. It is pretty much runecrafting, but with a small twist. I appreciate you watching the whole video, but I've got nothing left to say, so I'll see you in the next one, which will be AFKing 9 to 5.